Welcome back to 5 Minute Drum Lessons, where we get it done in 5 minutes or less. On today's agenda, exploring the many possibilities with the hi-hat, and including kind of half-open hi-hat notes in our playing to add a little more feel and help us come up with cool ideas. And just using that sound, because I think a lot of the time we're just thinking about closed hi-hat notes and open hi-hat where you're just kind of lifting all the way or almost all the way and the hi-hats are quite separated. But there's a lot we can do if you just sort of lift up the front of your foot or lift your toes up a little bit to take a little pressure off of the hi-hat, but the foot is still on the pedal. The toes come off a little bit, but your shoe is still on the pedal. And then usually what you do is kind of lift your toes a bit and then press back down to stop it. Instead of really opening up all the way. So the first thing we'll look at is sort of like how to incorporate that as a little subtle kind of idea or aspect to your groove as you're just playing your beats. Now sometimes you're just going to want to hold it down, like and just kind of keep it more or less steady and the same. But it can be cool if you're in a context or you're just grooving on your own where it makes sense. And you can kind of just throw it in here and there. On the beat or off the beat on the end. And just instead of sort of really opening up, instead of that, because that's very sort of like it's a very obvious, like it stands out. So if you want to do something that's a little more subtle, use the other movement just to add a little something to the groove without taking up too much space or getting in the way and being too loud. So just can kind of vary it up, and you can mix that into your grooves in all kinds of ways. Another great use for that sound is combining it with your bass drum and using it to replace the accents in any pattern you're playing for a fill that's going to have an accent in it. So just as a quick, simple demonstration, if you're doing accented 16th notes, just with an accent on the beat, 1 and a 2 and a 3. If you're doing that, what I'm saying is replace the accent with that slightly open hi-hat that closes right after, and the bass drum. So instead of 1 and a, you go 1. And that can be a great thing to work into your fills. So I'm going to start with a straightforward example. And I think a good way to practice this is just play the accented pattern the way you know, one time, and then replace the accent with that one time. And then you can groove in between. So that's like the general idea, but just think of depending where you're at, maybe you know only one or two patterns of accents, or maybe you know a whole bunch. But if you are familiar with accent patterns, like if I was going to do that on the snare, maybe I won't do every single accent over here, because it would be a lot. But I can do something like that, where I'm here on the snare, I'm going, and then on the using some of those accents over here. It's just a cool sound to use, and then doing a little call and response like that should help kind of get into replacing some of the accents, if not all of them, some of the accents, doing this or this instead of doing it all on your toms. And then I'll show you one more example that for if you're a little more advanced and you're using 16th note triplets, I was going. So that's my pattern. Or whatever. You can just replace some of them. So I'm going to do a call here and then groove in between. Little fast. So you don't have to replace every accent doing that, but it can sound really, really cool. And you can even work it into groove. You know, just punch away at it, and there's lots of cool things you can come up with. So, you know, add it subtly into your grooves for a little variation, or if you're kind of playing a fill, or you're pounding away, or you're doing a solo, or you're playing kind of a funked up groove, it's a great sound to incorporate, and it's very versatile. And I just wanted to throw that out there because it's not a fully open hi-hat, it's just half open, like I said, where you raise the toes and close it right after, and just play with it. And once you kind of get that sound going, try to work it into your playing and explore it a little bit as a sound, and you know, explore the left foot and explore the hi-hat and the different potential sounds that you can get out of the hi-hat, because it is a very versatile part of the instrument, and we want to get some mileage out of it because it's super cool. So that's it for now. Thank you for joining me. Any questions, let me know. See you on the next one.